We begin this hour by speaking to Ruby Dhalla. She was running for the leadership of the federal Liberals. I say was because the party disqualified her. Let's find out the story behind that. Ruby Dhalla is on the line. Ms. Dhalla, welcome to the program.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be with everyone today on CGAD.
The first thing I want to ask you, and this is a genuine, honest question, were you running a real campaign? And the reason I ask is, you're on this show today, but we had tried to get you on and, looking at all the candidates, other people like Chrystia Freeland and Mark Carney already had a high profile. I would think someone like you would want their name out and be doing interviews with the media. And we always got either no response or a no response up until now. So I just wonder, were you really running to be the next leader of the Liberals, or was this just a great way, and by the way, a very cost-effective way of getting some self-promotion out?
Well, I don't think someone can enter the leadership race to become prime minister of the country for self-promotion, putting oneself, out there. I had built a team. I had signed up over 100,000 members across the country. I have worked with donors all across the country to raise over $350,000. We were coming out with progressive policy ideas that were meeting the need of the hour. So it certainly in any way was not self-promotion. I was running because of the fact that I believe that Canada needed a progressive voice of policies that really met the need of the hour. I'm a doctor by profession. I had great insight into the healthcare crisis in our country. I'm a businesswoman, and as a result, have experienced the challenges that entrepreneurs and business people have in our country with the overburdening of tax. I'm a 3-time elected member of Parliament. I was coming in with a lot of experience on the legislative and parliamentary complexities, and I was battle-tested and battle-ready. I entered my campaign to win it, and it is unfortunately because I was coming out with progressive policy ideas, I was coming out with wanting to challenge the status quo and the establishment that I was disqualified. In terms of coming onto your radio program, my apologies because I have a whole media team that is handling it. We were inundated with requests from all over the world, especially many of the Canadian media outlets. I tried to reach out to many of the community radio stations and podcasters because of the fact that my candidacy itself was historic, being one of the first women from an immigrant community to run both for the leadership of the Liberal Party and as Canada's next Prime Minister.
You say that you signed up 100,000 members to the party. I think the party announced they had signed up 400,000 total. So you're saying you were responsible for a quarter of the people that the Liberal Party signed up during that period?
Well, we don't have the exact figures, but yes, we had signed up hundreds of thousands of members across the country.
Okay, so
that's correct.
So let me ask you about the allegations that were made against you. What is your response? Because you appealed, you lost your appeal. Clearly, the Liberal Party of Canada believes that what you did is so egregious that you had to be disqualified. What's your response?
You know what? I'm really not sure as to what to say, regardless of any of the proof that was given to them or the information. One day it was in regards to foreign interference, and the statement was issued that it wasn't foreign interference. And the next day it was in regards to financial violations. We tried to provide them with all of the proof and the evidence, but it seemed to have been a predetermined agenda. Once the $350,000 deposit was paid, the party all of a sudden came out with, questions that they had, but during that process of paying those 4 installments of $350,000, no one ever asked us. So I don't know if it was a ploy to get the $350,000 of donors' money, which came from hardworking Canadians. We did appeal it, and as you know, the appeal did not go through. They ruled on the process, that all of the process had been followed, and we received the decision yesterday just at the start of the debate.
Do you think that the other candidates, the ones that did end up on the stage last night, if they had the same kind of allegations against them, they would have also been disqualified?
Well, it's not even me putting this forward, but on Twitter, we've had over 5.8 million people engage with impressions over the last 96 hours. And many of the messages and emails that we have received have been from various people who have looked into the donor contributions of both Mark Carney and also Chrystia Freeland. They have found many anomalies, many violations with people donating over maximum a contribution limit. In addition, they have found people who have donated, twice. There's people on Mark Carney's donors list which have foreign addresses. This is the information that we have received from these messages, and I hope that those individuals will follow through with the appropriate individuals in the party to have those identified to see what the party will do in terms of investigating those.
Were there non-Canadian citizens working on your campaign?
Yes, I did have individuals that were there to express their opinions, but we were doing everything of all the laws being followed, and we had a lot of excitement from many people throughout not only Canada, but throughout globally, the fact that I was running because my candidacy itself was historic.
And what about the allegations that I've read, about one credit card being used for multiple couples? Was there any... Yeah. What's your response to that? Because that seems pretty serious as well.
Yeah, well, actually, that is completely false. Of one card being used for multiple people, it was only a husband and wife that used a credit card because of the fact they only had one credit card with a joint bank account. That had nothing to do with my campaign. That was an administrative procedural issue which requires an attestation form. That attestation form was sent. There were a total of 12 couples, so six couples, 12 individuals, and the 6 couples were sent 6 separate attestation forms because they had used the 6 separate credit cards. And the attestation form that was sent just basically declares that this is from a joint bank account with one credit card. We had people that had contributed that were lawyers. We had other professionals, out of that group of 6 couples, and that's something that is completely legal and completely in accordance with the Elections Canada Act.
We're with Ruby Dhalla, the now former Liberal leadership candidate. I have to ask you if you were running in the right party. Running now, I know you were a former Liberal MP, but running in 2025 in the Liberals, looking through your Twitter, looking through your X, a lot of the policies didn't seem to fit in with certainly not the other 4 candidates on the stage, but the Liberal Party in general. And there's some people that would say, maybe you should be running for the Conservatives. Maybe you should be in that party now. You certainly had some bombastic kind of posts on X. Some people have even called them very much aligned with Donald Trump more than anyone else, right? So is the Liberal Party even a real home for someone that thinks and acts like you?
First of all, I don't think that they were bombastic. And number 2, it's not someone that is thinking and acting like me because my campaign was not about Ruby Dhalla. My campaign was actually about speaking to the millions of Canadians that are, struggling day to day. I had policy and progressive ideas speaking about, solutions for talking about affordability, solutions for the increase in crime rate that our country is facing. I had solutions in regards to the increase in grocery prices in our country. And I had solutions, and many of them for helping to boost our economy in light of the tariff threat that we as a nation are facing from the United States of America. So they certainly were not bombastic. I think reality comes from the fact that out of all of the 5 candidates, 4 of the candidates have either been an advisor, a minister, or a member of parliament to the current administration. I was the only candidate that was operating in the real world for the last 10 years. And because I was operating and working and living in the real world, I had my ear to the ground. I knew what the pulse of the people was, and that's why my policies reflected what the need of the hour was in our country. In regards to your comments about these being too conservative or not being liberal enough, when I entered the campaign, I had stated that I was from the era of Chrétien and Paul Martin and wanted to bring the party back to the center. I wanted to return the party back into the hands of the membership. And the whole purpose and point of any election campaign is about the discussion and the debate of ideas about the future that the membership wants and the future that they want our country to head in. So those ideas that I put forward were progressive in nature. And unfortunately, because the status quo was being challenged, the party clearly did not want to move forward with that. But I don't believe that voices and ideas should ever be silenced.
So if the allegations that were made against you from the Liberal Party aren't true, what do you think the real reason is that you've been disqualified from this campaign?
Well, I think the people that made that decision from their predetermined agenda, once the $350,000 was taken, I think only they would know best. But the reality is, from reading many of the messages, me reading some of the commentary, and remarks that have been made by various Liberal talking heads, it was clear they did not want me on the debate stage. They did not want me, on the debate stage to ask questions, to put forward some of these progressive ideas, because they wanted to continue with the same status quo. They did not want me on the debate stage. They certainly did not want me on the ballot, and they wanted to complete the coronation of Mark Carney.
So you've been critical of Mark Carney. I was wondering when his name would come up here. So you've been very critical of Mark Carney. Do you think that had something to do with your disqualification?
Well, I think the facts and their final decision speaks for itself.
All right, we're going to leave it there. Ruby Dhalla, I want to thank you so much for coming on. What is next for you?
Well, we're going to be having a debate tonight. We will be announcing the format and so forth, and we will be live streaming because I will not be allowed to participate in the debate in Montreal. So we will be having our own debate that we will be hosting, and everyone can watch it on Twitter, on our X feed.
Are you doing that because you have this hope that they'll let you back in? Well, why are you even doing that?
Because I think it's important, for Canadians to be able to hear my vision and to hear the voice, and also to hear of my agenda that I did have for the country.
I thank you very much.
Yeah. Thank you.
Listen, I thank you for your time. I appreciate it. That's Ruby Dhalla there, now the former Liberal leadership candidate.